right, so what we're going to find, a lot of times you're going to find C1 is going to be side shifted either to one side or the other. What it normally means is if the pelvis is side shifted to the right, C1 will compensate by side shifting to the left. And when we find that, if I just pick the pelvis up and move it to the side of side shifting, what happens is the reflex will rebalance the C1 in the middle. To find that, if I'm going to go right behind the mastoid processes, a little bit underneath of them, and I'm going to get on the very ends of C1. I like to do it with my middle finger. And I'm just going to try to shift it, translate it, and the side that it doesn't go to is the side that it's shifted, and the pelvis will be shifted the other way. So Nancy, when I come in with Nancy, and I'm right behind the mastoid process, almost where the very tip of it is, and a little bit posterior, and I come in, I feel that she doesn't want to go this way. That means her pelvis is side shifted a little bit to the left. On the other side, she's moving well, but on this side, it doesn't go. So I'm just going to pick her pelvis up and shift it to the right. Like that. Probably just about an inch. And then I'll come back. And now it's moving nicely. Now if I go too far over that way, sometimes the C1 will shift to the opposite side. Right now, that reflex is kind of resetting, so I would go ahead and do some other type of work. But the second thing that's going to throw C1 off, and it has to do with the psoas, the left psoas muscle. Because of the breathing mechanism, the flattening of the diaphragm, we have a liver under this side, not one under here, primarily the right side. When we take a breath in and we get that downward pressure, it compresses all the viscera and it affects the position of the innominate. Because we get more downward pressure, this gets pushed down that vertical groove and back on the horizontal into an anterior positioning, and then that left psoas over time gets short and tight. When it does, and that innominate gets pushed down and back, it drags part of the cord with it all the way up to the foramen magnum at the base of the skull, and what will happen is you'll get a low occiput on the left-hand side. So if I come in with my finger right under Nancy's occiput, she's pretty good, but she might just be about maybe 3/8 of an inch lower on the left-hand side. And if I put my fingers right at the base of the occiput, right where the soft tissue hits the bony part, and I have Nancy take a big deep breath in, I feel that left occiput dropping down. That's the psoas tension. So we're going to want to release that psoas. I like to do reciprocal inhibition by kicking in the glute max to down-regulate the psoas. So I'm going to come underneath, above her knee, and I'm going to try not to hyperextend her knee, but I'm going to say, Nancy, I'm going to try to lift your leg right here. She'll be in a little bit of abduction, external rotation, and push down. Don't let me lift you. And I'm just going to, I like to do a fortification, so I'm going to pull where I feel that glute max start to kick in. And now it's nice and solid, so stay, don't let me lift. And I'll start to add slow pressure, and immediately it kicks in at this angle. If I bring it out to about a 30-degree angle, lock your leg there. I'm going to slowly try to lift, and there's a little give there, so I'm going to do that again. I'm going to just slowly add, and there's a little give there. I'm going to do it again, and now it immediately locks, so I know glute max is kicking in. Now I'm going to go up about 45 degrees. This hand is just controlling, so there's a little bend in the knee. This one over here is doing all the work. And lock your leg, and I'm going to slowly add that lifting pressure, and it kicks in almost immediately. Lock again. I don't want to just jerk into it. I want to slowly do accumulating pressure until I feel the leg lock as soon as I challenge. Now, if I'm going to reciprocally inhibit my own left psoas. I'm going to kick this knee out a little bit. That's 90 degrees. I'll go about 20 degrees off center. I'll put my foot flat on the table and I'll press equally with the heel and the ball of the foot. That will activate glute max, downright reciprocally inhibiting the psoas on that side. And I'll hold that for probably about 10 seconds, 15 seconds. And then I can move my heel a little closer. And I'm going to kick out, pressing with the outside edge of my foot. I'll push down into the table with about enough. If I was on the bed, I would put kind of a little crater there. It's going to be about 5 pounds of pressure, which is not that much. And I'd hold that, maybe let that go. I'd come up a little bit higher, a little more for flexion, and I'd press down. And I'd recheck my occiput. And that's how you balance your own left psoas. And then when I come back to Nancy's occiput and she takes a breath in, both sides drop down equally and they're equal level. Now I know that right and left psoas is balanced. Why this is important is if you get that low occiput on the left, it compresses into the occipital nodes, and at night with the glycemic drainage, that's the lymphatic drainage of the brain, there's 2 drainage points. One, we need to keep these occipital nodes open, but we have to keep the terminus open. So if we have any type of elevated ribs, first, second rib, clavicle problem that's impinging on the drainage of the terminus on the left side, and this is low and pressing into the occipital nodes, then you'll get a pressurized cranium on that side, and that could be migraine headaches, that can be vestibular balance problems, it can be Alzheimer's and stuff that you don't want as you get older. So I'm going to have Nancy clear her pelvis to see if we got C1. Go ahead, lift and back down. Okay. And so when I come in here now and I translate, everything is balanced. So what we've done is we've taken the side shift out of C1. We've also taken the compression because it's hard to balance C1 when that occiput is laying down and just kind of laying on top of C1. And then if I check for rotation, Nancy's also rotated to the right. If we go to Lovett's reactor, which is an oxypathic technique, that means that L5 is right rotated. If I don't reflexively fix L5 facet joint, then I can correct the neck and it'll come back. So remember, if you're not familiar with that reflex, C1 and L5 rotate in the same direction. C2 and 4 get stuck in the same direction. 3 and 3, same direction, and then up, they counter rotate. So that's really cool way to make sure we get a good clearing of the cervical and the lumbar. So we're going to shut the camera off, and I'm going to go ahead and check Nancy's lumbar. In fact, Nancy, roll over on your left side and let's check it seated and see if you are indeed right rotated at L5. Okay, a little bit uncommon. So let's see, that's the sacral base, and that's going to be L5. And go ahead and lean forward, and my left finger rides up. So this, if we used muscle energy, would be extended, side bent, right, rotated right. So she's got a stuck closed facet joint there. Let's go ahead and fix it. We'll do a muscle energy. Okay, so she's going to put this hand over here. So she's stuck extended. I'm going to flex her down to that level. I'm going to side bend her to the left because she's side bent to the right, and rotate. Give me a light resistance here. I'm actually going to do a little lift on that facet joint and stay loose. I'm going to flex her a little bit farther, stay loose, side bend her down to that level and rotate her and lock right there. I'm still doing a little lift on that facet to get a little myofascial aid. And last time, go forward, side bend and rotate, and resist. And then I'm going to do it, keep that lift, and then I'm just going to bring her back into it. And then I'll have Nancy lay down again, and let's see if we got C1 all happy. And I'm going to come up here and I'm going to lift on C1 on both sides. And she is derotated and decompressed and unside shifted.